Fuck you, Disney. How could a company with more money than God be so utterly incompetent at understanding basic story structure and writing manage to screw something up so profoundly I wish the Grey Knights would perform exterminatus at your world? So this one's gonna be a little different. Instead of discussing different aspects like the quality of CGI and acting, as well as giving a summary, I want to cut directly into the writing and characters in the same way I did Black Widow. As I detail the characters, I will compare moments, dialogue, and actions between the original movie and the remake like a mirror. This is because, once again, numerous people, myself included, are proven right about why Disney is failing. At the core, it's the abandonment of family values. And if you like what you hear, then please, like, share, and subscribe for more. Let's begin with Jumba, if you can even call him that. This version of Jumba is inferior to most one-dimensional villains because at least some, like Scar or Cruella, serve as a direct challenge to the hero and the position they hold. Simba didn't want power, while Scar coveted it. The Radcliffes celebrated life, accommodating the 101 Dalmatians, while Cruella was a predator harvesting the life of others for personal gain. This version of Jumba is below Cruella, because while he wants to use Stitch to create 627, his entire personality has been sandblasted with granulated diamond. This is a great example of how shit-tier modern artists take something full of detail, then deconstruct it, turn around and call this shit art. Jumba no longer observes Stitch, using the opportunity to capture him for both his own freedom as well as an experiment of sorts. His playful dialogue and rivalry with Stitch is gone too. Nah, this new one is just evil for the sake of being evil. During the fight in the house, Jumba wanders into Lilo's room, monologues about the stupidity of attachment, destroys the room, and tells Stitch he's going to remove his capacity for love. Fuck, you'd think this dude was one of Frieza's henchmen. And most importantly, the interesting and somewhat horrifying line about questioning what it must be like for Stitch to have no memories and now feeling lonely is absent. Gone, because as I said a couple years ago, writers today are trash, and if you think writing isn't the core issue of movies today, then hand over your last brain cell because it would be better put to use powering Madonna's vibrator. Next, let's put a magnifying glass over Lilo. All of her quirks are gone or altered too. Instead of taking pictures of fat tourists, now it's a bowling ball of a Hawaiian so big if he was airdropped from an Airbus A400M, the resulting tsunami could have extinguished the Maui fires. So much for that pie-in-the-face tourism from the original. These woke-tards can't even get their own rules right. Anyway, this little shit is a menace like Dennis. For no good reason, she cuts fishing line and frees chickens from captivity. Yes, she's a regular Greta Thunberg with her environmentalism that in no way causes more headaches than it alleviates. Yet she feeds dogs candy? Specifically sour gummies. Fuck, just feed them chocolate while you're at it, you little PETA member. She's painfully naive compared to the original version whose numerous quirks weren't just goofy things a kid does, like her obsession with Pudge the fish. No, they were how she reacted and handled the death of her parents. Lilo didn't just discover Elvis because she's fascinated by him. No, of course not. Her parents enjoyed Elvis and shared his music with their daughter. That's why many scenes involve Lilo dressing Stitch like Elvis to improve his image. And all those scenes are changed to remove that element, by the way. So much for the retarded media literacy crowd understanding things. Now she's a blank slate put on screen to replicate popular moments from the original. Leave Me Here to Die, Ohana Means Family. Just about all these scenes are strip-mined of emotion and themed so the incestuous corporate reviewers could convince big Minecraft YouTubers to see this movie because there's a fucking kid in it. Next on the checklist of abominations is Stitch himself. Stitch, just like Nani, who I'll get to in a moment, is treated like so many other popular characters thrust into the spotlight while being treated as though everyone else is at fault. Starting off light, Stitch's supercomputer intelligence is completely gone. Instead of the cruiser he stole being damaged during the escape leading to the crash on Earth, he smashes it up because the warning lights annoyed him. If that wasn't enough, his choice to return to the house gets it destroyed. destroyed. The difference is he never needed to go in the first place. In the original, Stitch returned out of fear and comfort back to the Pelikai house for Lilo. In the remake, the pair are at the dog shelter and Stitch drags Lilo all the way back to the house instead of literally anywhere else on the island because now Jumbo wants to catch them. There's zero reason for the house to be demolished in this movie, but terrible writers gonna write terribly. So digging deeper, instead of realizing he's lonely and willing to risk drowning for connection, now he wants to go surfing because it's fun. None of the scenes in the original that were genuine attempts to try and improve his mood exist in the same manner that they do. It's a rapid-fire series of highlights that do nothing to build the character because he doesn't learn any lessons. And this is why. One of his prized possessions, the story of the lost duckling, is gone. This book means to Stitch almost as much as Lilo does. He keeps it close with him in bed when he sleeps and takes it with him when he runs away. It is the crux of his arc. Without it, Lilo's point about Ohana means nothing, and these communists removed it. That's right, Stitch learns nothing. He's a jackass through and through until the movie forces an unearned self-sacrifice at the end. Even the scene where Lilo uses family against Nani has been leveled like Nagasaki. This shot in the trailer is 80% complete. That's it. That's the Ohana scene. Stitch learns nothing because instead of building up the emotional lessons Stitch learns, they play it off for laughs. Here, just watch the original and only pay attention to how Stitch reacts.
What about Ohana?
He hasn't been here that long.
Neither have I. Dad said Ohana means family.
Huh?
Ohana means family. Family means
Nobody gets left behind.
Or
forgotten. I know. I hate it when you use Ohana against me.
This is how awful writers are today. Even his name, Stitch, makes it clear he's part of the fabric that makes a family. Well, guess how he gets his name now? He tears the car seat in Nani's truck, so when Nani says, "Great, now I'll have to stitch that later," Lilo decides that's his name. Yep. These wobbly dildos Han Solo'd Stitch. He doesn't learn any lessons, he doesn't have a craving for something more than destruction, and doesn't want to steal people's left shoe. He's no longer a fleshed-out character with real depth. He is now nothing more than a proverbial stuffed animal. And this brings me to the last and most violated of characters that Disney scooped like a Fazbear's victim and stuffed a robot in the flesh suit of: Nani. Strong, beautiful, independent, responsible, caring, determined, and always second fiddle to the lifeguard. And unforgivably, she's absent from the movie because Disney hates everyone equally. These traits and more describe the original character to a T, while most don't relate to the current. Now, you've probably heard about the ending. Throughout the movie, as troubles mount, Nani eventually gives in and relinquishes guardianship of Lilo to the state. This happens, but to be fair, Nani does try to keep Lilo by finding new jobs. In that context, the mockery is a tad exaggerated. The real issue is the abrupt heel turn of characters involved, combined with the political aspects and the lack of actual threat. Let me explain. The ending diverts drastically, but I want to give more context. First, the political aspect. Nani is girl boss light. She's the bestest ever surfer, winning multiple events, described as beautiful, smart, and has pride in her home because nationalism is selective amongst woketards. So a quick addition I totally forgot to mention while I was editing this. To better emphasize the point of Nani being a girl boss, at one point Jumba tries to intercede while they're surfing and knocks Lilo and Stitch and all of them off the surfboards. So just like the original, that happens, except that when Stitch sinks, he's super heavy and no one can lift him. David takes Lilo to shore, but Nani goes down to try and recover Stitch. Stitch is basically drowned at this point and more or less dead, except she decides, and I'm not kidding here, to hold her breath and walk underwater with him a quarter-mile of a distance all the way back to the fucking beach. Yeah, that happens. So the next time someone tries to tell you that Nani is in no way, shape, or form a girl boss, tell them to shove it up their ass. So Nani has all the reason to live her own life and not waste her potential, as is often repeated. Despite her numerous frustrations, which at one point lead her to actually blame her dead parents for leaving them. Now, second is the lack of threat. Much of the praise she receives comes from David, who's worthless in this movie, and David's now newly introduced grandmother, Tutu. She was introduced to basically be Nani's cheerleader and unofficial caretaker for Lilo in Nani's absence. Tutu brings Lilo to the shelter, not Nani. Tutu tries to convince Nani to accept entry into the college in San Diego. So Tutu's both a protagonist helping the family in the mechanical sense watching over Lilo, but also an antagonist as she actively pushes the family apart thematically, encouraging Nani to go to college. It's infuriating. So with that context, let's fast forward to the ending. The house is destroyed, Jumba's been arrested, and everyone's deciding what to do with Lilo. There's a new social worker named Kikoa, who actually is Nani's original voice actor. She tells Nani that despite the literal cosmic circumstances of what's been happening over the last few days, she must still give up Lilo. And then Lilo pulls the bullshit Gohan's now a pacifist switcheroo and tells Nani she wants her to chase her dreams. To make matters worse, adding to the false threat point, Tutu offers and is allowed to adopt Lilo. I nearly shit my kidneys out when I heard that. What the fuck was the point then? So the threat of Lilo being taken away was never genuine because the movie had a built-in answer the entire time? This is the same shit Coco pulled with the family and the spirit guides. The movie tries to have its girl boss cake and eat it too. And the fucking cherry stem between the cheeks is Jumba has a portal gun. That's right, the final shot of the movie isn't just Nani abandoning Lilo, the house being rebuilt anyway, and Nani going to college. She has a portal gun allowing her to instantly travel from San Diego to Hawaii. Fuck you, movie. Oh, and one last detail. These dingleberries even got the ending they wanted wrong, proving the writers did approximately negative research. Nani's chosen college is in San Diego. Except after one search, there are over a dozen colleges in Hawaii, and several offer marine biology. These retards would strike out in a game of t-ball. How are you all so fucking stupid? This movie's probably the best example of AI taking over and inevitably replacing the anti-family communists that tried to write this cheese grater across the nuts because their brain power is so minuscule they would burn cereal. And I can't imagine what kind of leverage Disney must have against everyone who worked on this film. Is there a bomb in the womb of the director's wife? What the hell? Lilo & Stitch 2025 is by far, from just the 5 characters I discussed alone, the worst of the live-action remakes Disney has shat out. Don't waste your time with it. Enjoy the original or any of the other stories in the franchise because they are infinitely better than this colostomy bag. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.